Osu is a rhythm game that has been out for over a decade now, bringing many new and old players back to the game for everyone to experience its greatness. Osu has 4 different game modes, each with their own fan bases and popularity countings, and with many players choosing to go pro within the scenes of these 4 modes. Osu Mania is the second most popular game mode out of the 4, as it represents the VSRG scene of gaming. VSRG stands for Vertical Scroll Rhythm Games. Within the VSRG game scene, and throughout the lifespan of Osu Mania, the leaderboards have been constantly dominated by the South Koreans. This would be the same with many other games also, such as O2 Jam, and has continued to stay so for the past 10 years. Many of the same people that play Mania to this day have continued to stay, and some people to mention would be Wonder, Chiwi, and many more, and some legends are still within the gaming scene today. For example, Jackats.
Thanks for following! 5만원을 위해서 판정 99.8이다. 좋은 듯.
And Thiago. However, one of the many legends had a dark day within the community, which is on the 7th of February 2021, which led to the banning of WindyS. Today we're going to talk about the tale of WindyS and his eventual banning. WindyS' private life was kept quite a mystery on purpose, as WindyS did not want his private life to be exposed too much as to have a peaceful life, and not be brought into the spotlight. However, what we do know is that WindyS started playing VSRG games back in 2010, which is when he started playing O2 Jam and when he also started streaming it, which would mark him later down the line to be one of the best Mania players for 7 keys, not just in Osu, but globally. In O2 Jam, WindyS would go down to pass songs like Freedom Dive,
뭐야?
And even still to this day, 13 years later, WindyS still is to stand top at the number 3 spot within the O2 Jam leaderboards, showing his once great legacy, and will go on to play at Osumania and shoot up the rankings immediately, being in the top 2 in November 2017, showing an insane amount of skill for the time he was playing Osumania. WindyS would go on to show amazing skill and prowess within the Osumania community, solidifying his skill, which many had doubted at the time. Going on to compete in the 4-key Mania World Cup in 2016 and 7-key Mania World Cup in the 2017.
Alright, and right out of the gate, South Korea is going to take that early lead. We'll see some drops from Kagyu and Zanpan. Cappuccino actually still holding his full combo there. We will also see Estonians finding a drop as well, using the hidden mod there. Definitely taking it a little bit on the risky side. Jackets and WindyS playing like absolute machines, both respectively holding a 99.77 for WindyS and a 99.50% for Jackets. Jackets with a 98, and on China's side, Zanfang and Cappuccino still holding pretty decent. Cappuccino has dropped into the lower 90, the upper 95% mark. Kagi is still struggling incredibly bad with this, dropping below the 85% mark here, and I just don't think recovery is possible at this point. This one's definitely going to be a victory for South Korea. There's just no way. Even if we saw a fail here, it would still, I mean, look at that score difference. They have a whole million points damn near on them.
Oh, I mean, they kind of left Kaguya, so...
Oh, Kaguya did die. You are correct. Holy crap. Yep. So even if they did manage to pull anyone back, it's not going to mean a bit of difference. Rest in peace, Kaguya. F for respects. That is definitely going to be a first win for South Korea.
Win that 7 key by an absolute landslide, representing the South Koreans. On top of winning many tournaments, official or not, he would go on to 1v1 many of the top players within the Osumania scene at the time, one of which being Jay Lee, who was an incredibly famous Mania player for his skill at 7 key and was top 2 before WindyS had arrived at the scene. And these two would go on to keep sniping each other's scores as a war of skill, and eventually go on to beat Jay Lee. Even more showing his competitive mindset and how he is a worthy contender for the number 1 spot within the Osumania community. When it comes to WindyS' skill set, it was extremely obvious that his best strength was long notes, and considered to be one of the best, if not the best, 7-key long note player in the world at the time, at hitting a lot of notes in quick succession regardless of BPM speeds, shown within the Freedom Dive pass. These skill sets were shown by WindyS when he had gotten the world's first S rank in Cheshire's dance, which at the time was an almost impossible feat. And on top of that amazing play, he had gone on to pass the 7-key Zenith Dan, which no one had done at the time. However, the most insane play in WindyS' career was the performance points record at the time on Monochrome and Livid, with the DT hitting a 1,424 performance point play, which no one had ever even come close to hitting. After this play from WindyS, he would go on to quit O2 Mania for the time being, to pursue his career in O2 Jam, as he felt O2 Mania lacked content. From this point on, he rarely appeared online on Mania, only to come to submit scores for the month and get off again. However, after he hit the world record for performance points at the time, his message would be flooded with questions such as, "When will you beat Jackhads?" And the community started harassing him to get on top spot of Mania. It came to the point where WindyS would disable his account from being messaged to stop the harassment. Comments were disabled on his Twitter, in his YouTube, and eventually his O2 Mania accounts. Now that we are up to date with everything that has happened before the 7th of February 2021, we can talk about what happened to get WindyS' eventual banning. WindyS felt the urge to come back to the O2 Mania scene, however he did not want to play O2 on his main account, and he was playing on a different account, going under the name of 2Ard. This was a terrible thing to do because in O2's rules it says that you cannot multi-account, which was exactly what WindyS was doing at the time. However, in his eyes, he was doing nothing wrong. But before his account was banned, he was setting more insane scores on the 2Ard account and even went further. But how, you may ask yourself? WindyS decided that if people were going to give him their O2 Mania account details, he would boost their account by making insane scores on the profiles, which is also an extremely bannable offense. People would give them their account details over Twitch by donating money and giving them their details that way. Many people decided to donate their accounts, all of which were top players, including one of the top 50 players at the time, B-Hop. At the time, it was funny to WindyS viewers and WindyS himself. However, they all soon realised the horror of what he was doing too soon. WindyS was essentially throwing out all of the hard work that he has been doing with his account from the past years and banning everyone else to go with him, including his other accounts. After a while of being banned, WindyS started to feel the guilt of his actions, and he decided to post an apology on Twitter being 5 parts long, describing why he did what he did. He said that the game lacked entertainment and that he wanted to bring more to the O2 Mania scene. So that is all for the tale of WindyS. He wanted to move on to the other greater things and wanted to pursue something else. To this day, he has not been seen online on any other accounts, such as YouTube or Twitch, or any alternate accounts he may have on Mania. However, many hope he is okay still, as he was once a great legend within the Osu community.